interpretive naturalist here at the Edinburgh Scenic Wetlands and World Birding Center. Fishing is a fun pastime at any age. Right now what I'm going to go over is what you need in your tackle box. So if you're a beginner angler, this video is for you. Now it's always a good feeling to feel prepared, and it gives you a lot of confidence to go out there fishing on, and take many fishing trips. So I'm going to go over the basics of what you need in your tackle box, but later on it's up to you to add whatever you want. So let's begin. So we're going to use this tackle box as a display, and yes, you see that there's a lot of things in this tackle box, but I'm only going to talk about the items that you would need to start your first tackle box, and then you can expand later on. The first thing you'll need though is a tackle box. Like there's many tackle boxes like this one that open on both sides, and it has these nice little shelves and compartments. This one's made of metal, but there's lots of hardy plastic ones being sold at department stores and sports and outdoor stores as well. There's also tackle boxes that are made in bags. It looks like a little bag where you can fit small compartments in there as well. So, and even a backpack can work too. So that, there's many options to get a tackle box, but all you need is something that will fit all these items in there as you're going fishing. And then now we're going to move on to a really important tool. Let's get that one here. And that is your nail clippers. So the nail clippers is actually really good to cut your line, and also the tag ends of your knots and from rigs, and cutting rigs that you do not want on your rods anymore, and if you want to re-rig. So this is actually one of your handy tools to have. It's very simple. You can find it anywhere, find it at any store, and you'll use it a lot. Now that we're speaking about things that cut, well, here's your pliers. You'll need pliers as well. It's a very handy tool to crimp and open sinkers, but also to help you pull if you need to tie a knot that's starting to be really stubborn. So you can do that, but also those stubborn hooks that end up in the fish's mouth that it's hard to get out by hand, you can always have your pliers to get that out. And so this is also another handy tool to have in your tackle box. But if we move over here on this side of the tackle box, you're also going to need hooks of many different sizes, of many different shapes. They all come in different sizes and shapes. Some are small and some are more circle, but also some are more J. Look like a letter J there, the J hooks, but also, and then this one is attached to a weight. So again, there's many different types of hooks, and they attract many different types of fish. So if you have a variety of hooks, this will help you target a variety of fish. So your hooks is very important to have. And this is one of your main things, that when you set up a rig, you'll have your hook, but you also need your sinkers. And if you look here, there's a whole variety of sinkers out there. Don't feel overwhelmed. You only use a few of them as you go, depending on what type of rig you're going to set up on your at the end of your fishing pole. So like these bullet head sinkers, egg sinkers, these are very heavy. These go by ounces. This is a 3 ounce, so it's very heavy, good for the surf. If you're surf fishing, this is a 5 ounce over here. So don't go overwhelming on the sinkers. You only need a few to get started, and you can start off from there. Another thing to help you build and set up your rig are barrel swivels. Now these barrel swivels are really neat to have when you're making your rig, because you can use these to tie two different lines together, and this one stays in the middle. But also, if there's a big current, your line is actually spinning underwater, and that could cause a tangle. So these also spin. There's ball bearings in there, so they'll spin along with your line so that it doesn't tangle up. So you always have your swivels there, and they come in many different sizes. That was a small one. There's a very large one. There's a 3-way swivels. So You can be creative on your own rig if you want. You know, there's many different things to have there. So now that we're talking about rigs though, sometimes when you're taking your fishing pole out and you haven't taken it for a while, the line kind of gets worn and torn a bit, and you don't even know if it's going to last. So it's always best to have different line spools of fishing line with you, so that you can set a leader line, but also just in case that worn line finally breaks, you can hurry up and respool your reel as you go fishing. So you're always ready to go. So and of course these are all different sizes that I carry around. So you know, they're always handy to use, and it's always good to have them. Okay, and we're not going to forget the bobbers. Now the bobbers are really neat to have when you make a rig. These bobbers actually suspend, or they actually float on the surface of the water. You'll see them, and then when you get a bite, they go down into the water, and that's when you know to set set your hook. Oh, there's this one attached to that. And if you notice, this weight kind of holds it down. It suspends down, and then the hook hangs way down, and you can use your bait right there at the end of the hook. So always have some bobbers if you like to make a bobber rig, which is always fun to watch. So that's always handy. Now let's go towards, when you're making a rig here and you have your hooks, usually that's for live bait or natural bait. They can be live or they can be frozen, but you're using natural bait on this side. So on this side we have the artificial bait. Okay, these rubber ones are called soft plastics. Here's one, these little soft plastics that you put the little hook on, and then they act like little fish in the water. But then you got your hard plastics here. They're hard. A lot of them are deep water. They dive into the water there. Also there's top water lures here, and spinner baits that look like they're swimming in the water, and then this is spinning in the water and makes that nice shiny shiny spoon there, and it attracts a lot of the fish. Here's some spoons right here that will also attract fish underwater as it's spinning like this. After you catch a fish, sometimes you would want to take it home, and you know, you can take them home and eat them. So a stringer, this is a stringer where you put your fish that you want to take home with you. You hook them up here, and you can put them in the water and let them, you know, so that they're nice and fresh. But if you do take fish home, it's always good to have the outdoor annual with you, because this tells you the minimum size of a fish that you can take home. So it has a lot of the fishing regulations in this book, what type of fish you can take home and what size it has to be. So it's always good to have this with you. And then of course you want to know what kind of fish you have in the first place. So you can have any pocket guides, anything that will help you ID the fish is always good to have. Now if you do catch a fish that you can possibly take home, this is very important. Now out of all tools, this is a very important thing, especially if you're taking fish home, is a tape measure or anything that you can use to measure the fish. Since you're also going to be outdoors, it's always good to be prepared. So having a basic first aid kit handy is always a good thing. You can either have it in your tackle box or carry it with you everywhere you go. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy like this. It can be something small with a few band-aids, anything that you need, and of course anything that your family might need to be safe. Make sure you have your fishing license with you. If you're 17 and over, you have to get a fishing license. They come in different prices, different packages. It's always good to ask. You can go to a department store or a sports and outdoor store and ask questions about how do I purchase a fishing license. Those are the main items that you would need to start a tackle box. There are other things to think about though when you're going fishing, such as bug repellent and the proper clothing. And of course a camera if you want to take a picture of the fish you catch. And of course some snacks as well. Thank you for watching, and I hope this video gives you enough confidence and feel prepared for your next fishing trip. If you're interested in the Edinburgh World Birding Center and all our future programs and anything about us in South Texas wildlife, feel free to call us at 956-381-9922. You can also check out our website at edinburghwbc.com. And if you haven't yet, like us on Facebook. So y'all have a good one and go fishing.